It's long overdue, but I promised you a review on this shoe. So a couple years ago, I made a video on the Salomon Taurus trail running shoe. I'm just gonna make this quick and dirty, get right to the point, because I'm not overly impressed with the shoe, but there are some good things. So I'm gonna talk about the pros first, and then I'm gonna talk about the cons. First of all, I have about 1,000 kilometers on these shoes. I don't run a lot like I used to. I'm more into cycling, but I do love to run, and I love to run in the trails, and I've kept it up even though I'm not competing anymore. First of all, let's start with the pros. Number one, the tread on the bottom is actually really good. And even though I have 1,000 kilometers on the shoes, you can still see some places the lugs are not even like completely wore off. They're wore down, of course, but they're not completely wore off. And also I still have pretty good amount of not too much wear on the heel as well, but that's pretty good. So I'd have to say the traction and the lugs on the bottom held out really good. Another thing I like is the material. It didn't split anywhere here, it didn't break, and I had no spots in either shoe where it started to fall to pieces. So that's pretty awesome. The tongue is still good. The insoles are great. So the material around that part held up pretty good. Also, these shoes have a pull cord, a drawstring to tighten them up. I have to say I'm pretty happy that it didn't break ever, and it still works pretty good, but it's not like the best system because you have to push pretty hard on this little knobby thing here in order to pull them in, but it does keep them pretty snug and tight, so it works, and it's not easy to use. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Very smooth, but it does do its job, and it holds in place really well once they are pulled up. Another thing I like is that you can wind this up and you can tuck it in to the shoe. There's a little lip here, right? Like a little pocket, not a lip, a pocket, and you can shove the lace in there, and then it stays like that. So that's pretty awesome. What's another thing I like about the shoe? Another great thing is the stitching all around the sole here. It didn't come apart. There's no places where the sole come off the shoe. I've had that happen before. I've had like shoes where I could just split them back there like that. So they held up pretty good for that. The traction in the woods is awesome on the trails. It's great, and I've ran on, you know, over rocks and all kinds of different terrain, and I haven't had a problem with the traction. I actually think the traction in the shoe is really, really good. Some things I don't like about the shoes, I have wide feet but a narrow heel. So my forefoot is really wide and my heel is very narrow. So one of the things I didn't like about the shoe is the toe box is not wide enough. But I mean, that's the way it is. It looks like it's wide, but it's not. And you can see the hole right here. I know I talked about the material around here holding up because I've had sneakers where this is all cracked and split and the foam is coming out and, you know, it's just broken. And also same with the tongue, I've had things happen. But yeah, so you can see that there's a hole here, and I know it's because of my bunions, because I've got nasty, nasty big bunions. But this is one of the problems with me finding a sneaker in general, is getting a shoe that's wide enough at the toe box and narrow enough in the heel to fit my funky feet. So that's always been a challenge. Another thing I did not like about the shoe, even though I think this lace system worked really well and held up and kept the shoe in place, I couldn't seem to find the comfort zone with this, like the right tension in the lacing to be comfortable. So it was either too loose or too tight, and I was always fidgeting around with it, and it also caused pressure points on the top of my foot. So that is uncomfortable. Yeah, so I just couldn't seem to get that worked out. And in this shoe particular, the left shoe, I found it really bad across the top of my left foot, opposed to my right foot, which I wasn't struggling with as bad. But there's something going on with this one shoe here, the left shoe, that just was causing terrible pressure points. And I think it was in maybe the way the tongue is maybe stitched a little bit off or something, but it just wasn't working for me. Also, this shoe has quite a cushy heel. It's an 8mm drop. The shoe is not overly light. I like a light shoe, but it's hard to find a nice light trail running shoe that has great traction as well, because you want big lugs for the traction, but they also add weight. So I am on the hunt for a nice light trail running shoe. If you know of one, please put it in the comments section below. Another thing about the shoe is I am a 4-foot striker, so midfoot, and I tend to run. I got into minimalist running quite a few years ago, over a decade ago, and I really like it. And I actually have a pair of 5-finger Vibrams, the Bicolas, and they are my favorite shoe to run in. The toe shoes, those are my favorite. I found, because I'm a midfoot striker, that this heel was quite chunky and I didn't like it. So I'm actually looking at the 5-finger trail running shoes as well, but I'm not sure how they feel on the bottom of my feet with the rocks and things like that. So if you have any experience, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. Yeah, so I struggled with my foot strike with this because I am a midfoot striker, the heel would get in the way. So it was just, overall, I didn't have the greatest running form when I'm running with these shoes, because it's just not my style of shoe, and I should have known this when I picked it out. Overall, I would probably rate these shoes, I would have to say an 8 out of 10. And the reason why an 8 out of 10 is because they do have really good traction. They did hold up. The material overall, besides my bunions popping through, the material did hold up really well. Yeah, I would say the material, the lugs, the traction, and they are a great hiking shoe. I do love them for hiking. For running, trail running, I wish they were lighter. I wish the toe box was bigger. I wish that, I'm not a fan of the lacing system, even though it's very secure and held up. It's just the pressure point. But also, I'm giving it a better rating, even though I've had not the greatest experience with these shoes. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because a lot of it has to do with my own responsibility of picking out a shoe that's for my foot. I know my feet, and I probably should have just shopped around a little bit more. And when I got these, I was a little skeptical, but the sales guy was really cute and he was really good at his job, and he talked me into these shoes, and he's an avid trail runner, ultra trail runner, and he just told me about his experience with them, and he said that they were really, really good, and I just listened and I took his advice and I thought I'd try it. But yeah, I know my feet and I know what I need, and next time I buy a pair of trail shoes, I'm going to be a bit more picky and make sure that I'm getting something for my foot. So again, if you have suggestions, wide toe box, narrow heel, great traction, lightweight, and for a minimalist runner. But anyway, yeah, and if you've had experience with the 5-finger Vibrams trail running shoes, I would love to know about that, because I really, really have been doing my research on that and looking at the shoes and checking them out. So I would love to know the experience, your experience on that, if you've had it. Okay, so that's it. There's my trail running shoe review, finally, after all these years. I hope it was informative and helped you. And if you have any feedback, give it to me. If you like this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, and come back for more. See you later.